welcome to the Lazy Knitter podcast. If you've been subscribed to this channel, you might be surprised to, after a hiatus of 2 years, unexpectedly see a video pop up. Although unexpectedly, I might announce this podcast on Instagram or Twitter or something, just to make sure that some people watch. I don't know how many subscribers are actually going to be excited to see this video and not just be like, oh gosh, she's back, unsubscribe. I hope not, but hey, if that's how you feel, that's okay too. Yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I hope the quality of this video is acceptable. I'm recording on a laptop. It's a different laptop than I used to record on, I think. I think I still have my old laptop last time, like 2 years ago. The quality of this one should be acceptable, but I feel like when I move it might be a little bit blurry. I don't know. I haven't recorded on this one as much. Maybe it's just my eyes being a little tired or something. It is April 5th, 2018. It's about 1:15 in the afternoon. Bad admission, I'm supposed to be in class right now, but I was really late. I missed my train. The metros weren't working properly today. They've been a mess the entire day. I was late to my morning class, and I was supposed to be there at 8:30 according to my planning. I was there at just a little past 9. Thankfully, they hadn't really started yet. It was just like an introductory round, but I was going to be significantly late to the second class that started at 1, and you get marked absent if you're very late, so I figured I might as well just stay home and do something else. Which it sounds horrible. I don't mean it as bad as it sounds. I mean that I'm tired and I wasn't feeling that well anyway. And I have a big deadline tomorrow that I could really use some extra time on. So of course instead I'm podcasting. I'm already off on a tangent. This is starting great. This is probably a good introduction of myself as well. I go on tangents. I ramble. If that is not your cup of tea, yeah, might not be as interested in these videos of mine, but let's get back on track. I podcasted about 2 years ago. I did about 12 episodes, I think. They were rather long, and I was thinking that this video might be shorter, but considering that I feel like I haven't even started properly yet, I don't think I've even introduced myself, to be honest. This is starting great. But apparently I'm just not good at talking for a short amount of time when I'm talking to my computer. But I'll do my best to be a little more concise. I podcasted about 2 years ago. I had to stop due to some health issues that were just starting to get worse and worse and worse. And Compared with daily life and trying to attend university, I didn't really succeed that year, to be honest. I was quite significantly poorly all the time, and I passed like 1 course in that year instead of like 12 or 15. I think we have, how many courses do we have? We have 4 with about 2, that's 8, about 10. That's not as bad as I thought. But I passed 1 course that year, and the following year, I was able to get some kind of treatment for my issues. There really isn't an exact like medication or something I can take to improve my health, but just some daily rules, a routine, set bedtimes, sort of thing like that, which is not as easy as it sounds, to be honest, especially as for someone who sleeps very poorly. But yeah, I'm gonna save all the personal talk mostly till the end. My planning, I just want to explain that something had to give, and it was the podcast. And although at the time it was kind of a relief not to have to worry about podcasting and just let it go for a bit, I have been missing it a lot. I want to talk about my projects. I want to talk about designing patterns. I don't know a lot of knitters like in real life. I have some contacts on Ravelry. I have made some amazing Instagram friends, and I can talk about it with them. But my sweater's a bit frumpy over there. Blah. But it's not the same. I like, you can't just text someone, oh, look about this, my sweater, blah, blah, blah. And although my family is very good at trying to understand all the knitting mumbo jumbo, they're not always interested, and I just force it on them. No, they like my knitting, but they don't understand like the difficulties of it beyond the basics. If I'm stuck on a pattern, or if there's just like a sleeve I don't understand. I happen to love sweaters. This is one of my first sweaters. More about the sweater later, actually, because I have show notes, because I knew that jumping back into a podcast after 2 years was going to be tough. So I'm planning for this episode, and I miss podcasting, so here I am again. That's basically the summary of this entire section so far. And I thought, because it's been so long and new viewers might be showing up, I thought it would be a good idea to start by introducing myself again. So, after 5.5 minutes, I finally will tell you who I am. My name is Renee. I live in a suburb of Amsterdam, and I'm clicking a pen. I'm sorry, I have a nervous habit. I will not do it again, I promise. Or I'll try, anyway. But I'm 26, I turned 27 in November. I am studying English literature at the Vrije Universiteit, which translates to like the Free University of Amsterdam. So I'm regularly in Amsterdam. Other interesting things about me, I have a sister and 2 parents who live nearby as well, so I'm regularly over there. And the other podcast episodes, I was sometimes over at my parents' house, especially in the summer, because I live in an apartment with one wall that is entirely windowed. I'm looking up at it. If you think whatever is she looking at, I was looking at my window. And in the summer, I get sun the entire day, which in the winter is quite nice because it saves on heating costs. In the summer, I live in a sauna, and it is, for someone who is not a fan of heat, it's not the best situation. I hate it. In the winter, this apartment is really nice, and I really like my apartment. I have my own kitchen. I have my own. It's just entirely my own, which is a luxury in Amsterdam for students. And yeah, but the heat, it's not for me. I don't think anyone here likes it, to be honest. But yeah, you gotta live with it. Everybody has their problems. This is mine. So my parents live close to the beach. So in the summer, I'm regularly over there, and well, I could say that I go to the beach, but I really don't. I don't think I've been in the last 2, 3, 4 years. I don't like sand. So I will instead just lie in the garden, because they have a garden, grass. I don't have a garden. I don't even have a balcony. I barely have windows that open, to be honest, because I live on the 5th floor, and the first residents here had a bad habit of climbing out onto like this ledge that was outside of the windows to smoke. And now nobody's windows open. Fun. Thanks, guys. That was really great. Yeah, so there's like a community garden, but I'm kind of socially awkward, and I don't like people I don't know. No, that's not true. I'm saying this wrong, but it just isn't as relaxing for me to go sit in a communal garden compared to my parents' garden. So, I might try it, but honestly, there's always like people drinking beer and stuff like that in the middle of the day, and if I'm gonna be laying in the garden reading a book in my bikini, that's just awkward. That's not comfortable for me. Anything else I can say about myself? I just went to a really interesting class this morning. Maybe that's interesting. Like I said, I'm studying English literature. I'm in my 3rd year. I have 1 year delay. I should be in my 4th year now, but because of last year. What did I do? It was really interesting. It's about African literature in English, and it's something out of my comfort zone. My usual books are trashy romance novels or paranormal romance or something like that. Historical novels, historical fiction, something like that. But yeah, this was actually kind of fun. I'm really interested to see where this course goes. This was the first class of this semester, so we'll see. Anything else about me? Obviously, I sort of mentioned this already, but I'm chronically ill. Officially a spoonie. But thankfully, I get more and more spoons lately, so that's a good thing. And yeah, honestly, I don't really think of myself as a spoonie. I'm just a person with some energy challenges sometimes. And I have the kind of chronic illnesses that you don't really notice in daily life as much. There's definitely a lot worse out there. I'm good. And I thought maybe to introduce myself a little bit more, because this is obviously a knitting podcast. Obviously, I haven't spoken about knitting much at all yet, but we'll get there. I thought I would mention a few favorite projects I've made so far. Some of these, if you've watched the other podcasts, you might have seen or heard of before. Some of them are new. The first one is the sweater, and I will get up so you can probably see it. This is it. Awkward pose here. This is the Threipmuir. Threipmuir. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a pattern by Ysolda Teague. I think Vine is knitting one at the moment as well. One of the really interesting things about this sweater is that based on your color choices, it looks like a completely different sweater. I used a sort of dark green, I think it's called Clover, this colorway, a light blue and a magenta pink. The magenta pink is really out of the norm for me, by the way, but I quite like it. I was a little worried about the green and the pink being too Christmassy, but the blue seems to tone it down, and the pink is pink enough that it doesn't look red. But this is, my first Ysolda pattern, actually. And my first time knitting with a more rustic yarn for a garment. I'm a fan of acrylics for sweaters. There, I've said it. No, I have a few sweaters that were my first experiments in sweaters. So I used cheap yarn. And they're really, really nice, actually. I'm definitely not anti-acrylic. The creaky ones, of course, yes, nobody really likes those. But you have really soft, nice, washable acrylics out there. They're easy care, they're soft, you can just throw them in the dryer and they'll still be fine. That is a benefit to me. So I have acrylic sweaters. I like them. This was my first fingering weight sweater. I used Wool met Verf is super soft. Wool met Verf is a Dutch indie dyer. She also has a yarn shop, online and brick and mortar. And I think this is the same as Holst Super Soft. It looks completely identical. The packaging looks very similar. There's just a different name on it. This was my first experience with that yarn. I had read that... Oh my god, I'm doing the pen thing again. Renee, focus. Okay. I'm getting really warm too. Podcasting is not as easy as it looks. But I had read online before working with this yarn. I am a totally impulse shopper when it comes to yarn. This was on sale because she was stopping Wool met Verf. It wasn't going to be stocking it anymore, and so I got an amazing deal. So I bought 2 sweater lots, and I had barely knit like 2 sweaters at that point. I have way more sweater lots than I should have for someone who has barely knit a sweater. And most of them are acrylic, so I have like really fancy yarns waiting to be knit up into sweaters, and all that I have are acrylic sweaters, so I need to get on that. But I had read that the whole super soft, it has lanolin or spinning oil still in it, and so when you knit it, it can feel kind of harsh and unpleasant, and you feel the residue on your hands, and it will look a little skinnier than it is. And when you wash it and walk it properly, it will bloom, and it definitely did that. Whoa, what just happened? I don't know if you saw that on the something just completely blocked my window for a second there. That was weird. I don't know. Also, quick note in between. They are building right outside my window for the next year and a half. So it's rather quiet right now, but if you hear any bangs or loud noises, I'm so sorry. I can't do anything about it. This is my life every week. So, sorry. I can't help it. They're actually also doing it sometimes at night, because they are... this is totally not interesting, probably, but let me tell it anyway, because it annoys me a little bit. I get it. I understand that it needs to happen, but it's annoying. They're dumping cement, and they have to do this kind of process to make it more durable and waterproof, and that has to happen a few hours after they dump the cement. That is at night, and it is really, really, really loud. The last time they did this was during finals week. okay, thanks. Everybody was so pissed here. It was so funny. I live on a student campus, so we have like a Facebook group. So if there ever is anything going on, everybody would be on like Facebook, like, wah! So I join in, of course. But I was talking about my sweater. My sweater really, really bloomed quite nicely. It still might be a bit prickly to some people, but I can take it better than I expected, actually. I was a little worried that I might find it too prickly, but I quite like it because I have worn this a few times, so it's a little lumpy, bumpy, and stretched at some points. And my bra strap is disfiguring the yoke here. Well, whatever. I think it sort of blocked itself around it or something. I don't know. I had a backpack on this morning, and every time I go to class, so that doesn't help either. But yeah, this is my favorite sweater to date, I think. I have, like I said, I bought 2 sweater lots. I also have a grey sweater planned in this yarn with dark blue accents. This was my first colorwork yoke. I ended up knitting this twice because the first one ended up being way too small. I was knitting size, I think like 40 or 42. I think 42, something like that. And I ended up with size 34. So my gauge was off. More than a little bit. But it was really fun to knit, and knitting it again actually gave me a better understanding of the construction, because this pattern has a really interesting like short row tab around the neckband that really gives it an amazing fit, to be honest. It's just a few rows, but it does matter. And I thought that was really interesting. I hadn't knit a sweater with that kind of construction yet before. I hadn't knit a top-down sweater yet before at all, so that was interesting. And honestly, the stockinette body goes quite fast if you just watch a nice Netflix movie or something like that. The yarn was quite pleasant to knit with, honestly, even though it like left that residue on your hands. Yeah, it could take a beating. I just stuffed it in my bag and took it everywhere, to be honest. And I think each sleeve took about a day, so I can't really speak on Sleeve Island yet. Probably will be in the future because I'm planning a lot of sweaters. But I need to move on. Threipmuir. Threipmuir. I don't know what it means. I don't know how you pronounce it. Yeah. I'll put something on the screen so you know what I'm trying to pronounce. Very unprofessionally. But it's by Ysolda Teague, and yeah, I would recommend this pattern. It's really, really fun. I love the pattern on the yoke. Yeah, recommend it. It's one of my favorites. And I had 2 other projects I want to show you. One of them is missing. It is my favorite project ever. Well, they both are, sort of. One of them is at my parents' house because it's a huge blanket, and I have a too thin duvet there. I had a too thin. I've bought a new one since. But my bed was really, really cold, so I have this huge crochet blanket, or neat ripple blanket by Alec24. And that's on my bed all the time, and every time I'm there, I'm just like, oh, I need to bring it back to my apartment because I'm there more often and I can use it more. And every time I'm like, no, it's going to be warm. And then I get to my apartment again and it's freezing cold. But yeah, it's a really, really nice blanket. I used colors that are totally not me. This was one of the first projects I started. I started knitting in 2012, in like around December. And over the summer that year, I had picked up crochet. And the neat ripple, I think I saw an image of like a neat ripple somewhere. And that sort of spurred me on to learn how to crochet. And I thought, oh, I'll just need 1 ball of each color and I'll make a blanket. No, not even in the least. It's about 4 kilos, 4.5 kilos, something like that. I made it huge, to be honest. It's 2 by 2 meters. It is bigger than my bed. But I like big blankets, so it's worth the effort to me, and I kind of like the weight. They have these like weighted blankets for sensitive children who have too many influences coming at them from the outside world to help ground them. And I honestly think I would like those as well, because I love heavy blankets. I can't sleep under just like a sheet. I need to have like layers of stuff on top of me, or I just don't sleep well. And it's just so cozy to be completely burritoed into this huge crochet blanket. I love the texture of the crochet stitches. When I'm sleeping, I'll sometimes just wake up and find myself like holding onto like a fold in my blanket in my sleep. Somehow it's just comfortable for me, I guess. But I chose like the yarn was a bit of a like, oh, this is all I could find. I didn't know about yarn shops. I didn't know about Ravelry. I just bought them at a super cheap change store here in the Netherlands, Simon. The yarn is acrylic, soft, nice, and hold up like a champ. It's been in the washing machine several times. It's been lugged around everywhere. I worked on it for over 3 years, so while it was the first project I started, it was not the first one I finished. It's been through several moves with me, and it still looks great. And I still haven't woven in those ends. So my ripple blanket is one of my favorite projects ever. I use it a lot. It still looks good. I want to make another one. I have yarn to make another one. Though originally I have been hoarding the yarn I used to make that blanket in the horrible colors. They change colorways quite regularly at that chain store because they want to keep fresh and whatnot. And they have quite interesting colors, like really different. And I've just been collecting colors that appeal to me for the last, what, 4 years, maybe? So I have quite a collection of interesting colors, so I can make like your rainbowy type blanket. And my ideal was to make like small granny squares, like maybe 3 rounds, this size approximately. Just small. And to work like all these crazy rainbow squares. They're all one color, but because they're small squares all joined haphazardly, it would be more like a rainbow crazy quilt type idea, and that appeals to me, but I'm also really tempted to just make another ripple with them. But I also have about 30 balls of the same yarn in white that when I first started crocheting in 2012, I gave my parents for Christmas with the idea, oh, I'll make you a blanket for your bed, and their bed is huge. It's like 180, 2 meters, something like that. That, actually thinking about it, that's not that wide. My blanket would fit on it already. Okay, so that's not that bad. But I started in like a Tree of Life type blanket with in crochet. You have a knit version as well. And I stopped. I put it away for 3 years, and then I picked it back up, and I was like, oh gosh, I haven't crocheted in so long. Because it used to really be all about the crochet. Then I learned to knit. And I still crochet every once in a while, and I know I haven't in years, and that's kind of sad. So I need to start learning again. That's one of my goals for the next year or so. I'm not sure it's going to happen this year, maybe next year. We'll have to see if I find some time. But I'm thinking maybe just a white ripple. It could be very interesting. No changing yarns except when I run out, and I can still do my small granny square crazy blanket as well. We'll have to see. But on to the next project. That one is mysteriously missing. It's a pair of mittens, my lumberjack mittens. It's one of my designs, and it is the one I am most happy and most proud of because it's just the one I like best. To be honest, every time I release a design, I'll feel like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever made. And but I have worn these mittens all winter, and they're just my favorite. I have a matching pair of socks as well. They're also good, but the mittens, they just make me happy every time I wear them, and I'm proud of how I executed the design. Yeah, but I'll insert a picture here. Same for the blanket. You'll probably already have seen that. But I think I left them at my parents' house last time I was there, or the time before last, because it was cold when I arrived there, I think, and then it was not cold when I left, and I was like, oh, it's going to be spring, I don't need mittens anymore, and now all my mittens are over there, and it was freezing today, so that wasn't smart. I think I just put them away like, spring. But, yeah, there's not a lot I can say about those, I guess. It feels a little spammy talking about my own designs, but, well, I'm happy about them, so I should be able to share it. It's my podcast, so I can do what I want. They're lined stranded mittens. The lining is both for extra warmth and because floats in mittens just annoy me a little bit. I keep getting my fingers caught, or I'll fiddle with them and I'll damage the float, and that's the mitten. And the lining is inside out, so the smooth knit side is on your hand, which to me, honestly, some people need princess soles on like their knit socks so that they don't walk on the pro bumps. I don't need that on my feet, but my hands apparently really appreciate it. Yeah, I like the patterning on them. It's bright, because it's like a plaid red, white, and blue. I like what I came up with to do the third color without having to strand that as well. Not my idea at all. I googled for it and found this solution because I didn't want to strand 3 colors. That is not something that appeals to me at all, to be honest. If there's ever 3-stranded color work necessary, I'll find any other way to deal with it, if at all possible. Yeah, but so we're 26 minutes in, and I've only discussed 3 things and haven't really gotten into what I've been up to lately. So let's move on to the next section. Finished objects. I could show you a lot from the past 2 years. Obviously, there's been some finished projects in the meantime, like the sweater. But I picked one, my most recent finished object. I was supposed to have another finished object last night. Not even a finished object, actually. A half-finished object. I finished one sock. But it pisses me off right now. I shouldn't say that. I sound like really aggro when I say that. But I mean, like, it's just so sad. I had finished the sock. I normally always try on my stranded socks before moving on to the heel. I didn't this time. I should have. Just immediately the section after the cuff worked. I'll include a picture here so you know what I'm talking about. After, just below the second Latvian braid, it stopped fitting. I know where I went wrong. There were several 11-stitch floats. Normally that's not a problem for me, but I guess there were too many or something, and it didn't fit at all. So I had to rip it all out, and I tried ripping it out to just below the cuff through like the Latvian braids, but it just wasn't cooperating, and in fury I ripped it all out, and I think it's going to hibernate for a little while. I have some other designs I want to work on instead. This one needs to like percolate a little bit so that when I pick it back up and start over, because the yarn is amazing. It was fun to knit with. I don't mind having to knit with the yarn again. I just was really looking forward to finishing this one sock. The pattern was completely written up. I wanted to get it into testing because I felt like releasing a pattern. And yeah, that's not going to happen now because it doesn't even fit me, so I'm going to have to change the chart because those strands are annoying and are probably going to be not as fun for more people. I could go up a size, but I normally wear a 60-stitch to 64-stitch sock on a 9-stitch per inch gauge, and in my stranded gauge is 8 stitches per inch, and I go up to 72 size sock. And going up to, because of the charts, the way the charts are written, I can either do, let me think, 64, 72, or 80 stitches. And 80 stitches just sounds crazy large because then the heel is going to be too wide, the toe won't fit well. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try and eliminate those extremely long strands, which for some reason were giving me a trouble this time. Or I might just be daring and not change anything, but try the knitting inside out technique. I've never done that before for stranded knitting, but with the amount of long strands that might be necessary, that might just be what I needed, because I just needed a little extra length. Just like if I'd gone around my fingertip on just one of those strands every round, it would have been fine. So that's disappointing. But yeah, now that this is actually a whip, technically. I listed it under whips, even though it's technically not a whip anymore. It's gone. But I wanted to show you the yarn because it was really nice, and I will include a picture of what it looked like a whip. This is the natural version, the natural yarn I'm using. It's by Draadkracht, Dutch dyer, and this is the natural undyed base. It has like a subtle sparkle in there. It's showing up pretty well on camera, actually. It's a little bit warmer in real life, to be honest. And this is a custom colorway she dyed for me. It goes very well with my sweater. And the colorway name is Noordlichts, or Northern Lights, and also with the same sparkle, also by Draadkracht. yeah, so I really enjoyed knitting with these. They're super soft. The yarn is pretty sturdy for a yarn this soft. It's held up through 2 froggings already because I frogged my cuff the first time as well. I will knit these again. I just need to figure out if I'm just going to go up another needle size for those stranded bits, or because it looked really nice. I don't really want to go up another needle size. I need to figure out what I'm going to do, if I'm going to change the charts. I originally had really fun charts for these. And then when I started knitting, it just looked like spots on the sock. You couldn't see what I wanted you to see. Stars and snowflakes. In the middle of a snowstorm because I didn't want long strands. So I did like little 1 stitches of white in between everything, and it just looked like a mess. That was a bit disappointing the first time. And then I changed it to these little stars that you just saw in the picture. And they're too small. But I was really happy with how they were looking. So maybe I just need to figure out a way to make this work with like little snowflakes, little snow stitches again in between somewhere to, because I was sad about losing the snowing effect. So maybe these big stars with some snow. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm just postponing that until a later day so that I can take a little break from this, step back, and I'll come back to it with a fresh mind. FOs, that was what I was getting to. Let me, yes, I am, ooh, that was a little louder than I intended. I am surrounded by whips. It didn't all fit on my table, so some of it's on the floor. I just vacuumed, so that's okay. My next FO is from Handspun yarn. This is the leftover of the yarn I have. The yarn is a 2-ply fingering weight. Yeah, it's a little thick and thin. A little uneven, not really thick and thin maybe, but it's average around a fingering weight. And I knit it up as a fingering weight. The fiber is from HilltopCloud. I bought it back when she still had an Etsy shop instead of her regular shop now. I bought it at the same time as I bought a Learn to Spin kit with a spindle. It's 100% white masham. I don't think it's my favorite fiber. I didn't enjoy spinning it as much as I had hoped. It's quite a long staple length, I think. I'm not very knowledgeable about spinning. Let's just get that out before any mistakes my information for actual facts. It's quite like a firm, fat hair, basically. It felt like spinning hair. Shorter than human hair, and softer, but not like a merino or anything like that, which I really enjoyed, to be honest. And this was fun. It was a challenge, but it was also very, very slick, which is why it's a little uneven. It has a very nice halo, though. You can see it a little bit here. It was like a mixture of hair and like regular fiber. I don't know what I'm saying. I knit this hat out of it. This is the Gregory hat by Zielinski or Kniterella. I sort of took in my own approach. I used smaller needles than in the pattern. I went up a size to get the size smaller, and I knit the slouchy version to get a regular hat. I used 2.5 millimeter and 3.0 millimeter, which is a US 1.5 and a 2.5, maybe? Wait, let me peek. Yeah, a US 1.5 and a, oh gosh, I just looked up and I forgot already. And a, oh, wait, what? You don't have a 3 millimeter? What do you use? Oh, I guess a US 3 is closest. What? That's really odd. I have like a conversion chart from Stephen and Penelope in my knitting notebook, which I might as well just show you. This is my knitting notebook. It is full. Almost. I have like this much left to go. So 25 pages or so. I keep track of all my projects. I am a total control freak. I can just, let me pick one to show you that doesn't give away a lot. Here are the exploration stations. This one doesn't give too much secret sauce away. I track all my rows. Every row, all the time. If I don't have my notebook with me, I'm not going to enjoy my knitting because I'll stress about forgetting the rows. Well, I do enjoy it, and I've taking a plunge and gotten a row counter on my phone so that I can track where I am and how much progress I made. I also stick in like little snippets of all the yarn, usually tags as well, but I didn't for this one for some reason. I think because I had so much left. I'll track how much yarn of each color I used. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. I also write my designs in here. I'll keep this back a little bit so you can't read them as well because this is a paid pattern. I'll either write it out before I start knitting or as I knit. I used to be just an as I knit person, but lately, sock-wise, I can just write them out if I've got the pattern. Obviously, it doesn't always work because I had to frog these ones, unfortunately. And I'll have like a sheet with like, oh, for the sock I did this. And those generally include more information because I want to be really precise in the pattern about how much yardage I used, about what type of yarn I used and how you can substitute it. And you can substitute if I give you all the information, like fiber content, yardage per 100 grams, colorway, everything like that. This one is funny. I knit a sock blank from Giant's Fiber Arts and just stuck in a snippet of sock blank so it's all still wiggly. For this one is for an upcoming submission that I just started. I haven't written the pattern for this one yet, but I should be able to. I make a little illustration of what my thought process is in this case, the sizing I want to do, my gauge. I'm bad about gauge if I'm just going to knit a pattern for socks from someone else. I don't measure for gauge, I just take my regular stitch count and needle size. But back to the Gregory hat. I originally had made a pom-pom from the yarn. This is left over after the pom-pom. But I'd gone for too big a pom-pom, made it really, really fat. And it just looked weird. Like, you could see where I'd wound the yarn around it to pull the strands together. And it fell apart during the bath. Because I gave it a bath to block the hat. It was just a mess. So I got this from a local store. It is a keychain. That was the bang you heard earlier. It wasn't the construction work, it was me. But I thought perhaps I could just butcher this pom-pom, cut this off like close to the pom, and then just surgically stitch it onto my hat. And then it would look like this. But I'm a little unsure about the pom-pom, because I do want a pom-pom, but maybe just in another yarn and not this, because I feel like this pom-pom is wider and makes my hat seem really, really yellow. And it's a nice, warm, natural color. It's not as yellow as you might think. Like, see, these aren't that far off. This is a bit wider, and you can see how this looks grayer just by this being next to it. But on its own, this looks like a good color. It's not like yellowy or dirty or anything. It's just a natural. And the colors are showing up pretty well on camera, as far as I can tell, actually. Only my hair. My hair is blonde. It looks really red on the camera. I do have like a red dye in it, like a really light transparent dye just to lift the reds up a bit. But I never really realized that when I sit here, it looks really, really red. So that's interesting. I don't mind. I like it. Yeah. I'm just gonna quickly move on. I think that was enough about the Gregory hat. I'm gonna put it away in a second because at the same time I can grab my next talking point. I'm gonna move on to whips. Which one do I do first? This one, because it's nearby. Let's put the hat away. This is in a Keep on Knitting Kitten bag from Stephen and Penelope. It's a yarn shop in Amsterdam. Oh, that was some chart. Let me fold that. Maybe there's a picture. Yes, I am knitting this thing. The Aether shawl by Amy van der Laar. She is the creative genius behind the beeswax mittens and the beeswax hat and cowl, which I love. And this is a lace cowl, and it's an interesting construction actually. I thought it was just going to be top down, like you start small, you make it bigger and bigger and bigger. But you start at the bottom point of the triangle shawl, and then you knit to the top. So you go like this, and then you pick up around here for a knit on garter edge, which is interesting. I've never done it like that before, and it's yeah, it's fun. The lace pattern is actually pretty simple, but for some reason I keep making mistakes whenever I pick this up. So I need to just get through a chart repeat so that I'm back on track and remember what I'm doing. And then I'll, probably be okay with it again. I just need to get my brain in gear or something. The yarn I'm using, let's see which one is attached to my project. Let's pull that out too, actually. Maybe it might be interesting to see in this knitting podcast where I talk about what I'm knitting. What is the right side? Oh, I'm bad at lace shawls. It's really hard to do. This side? Maybe? Oh, this color actually isn't showing up well on camera. It is a lot more soft, like a greyish blue. Then it's not as cobalt or as purpley as it is showing up right now. Maybe. Yeah, no, that's just not showing up right. You can see I've made a little start. You can see some of the patterning. It's hard to show lace, but you can see it a little bit like this actually, like in front of the white wall. The yarn I'm using is Malabrigo Silkpaca, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Silkpaca in colorway 150 Azul. It's soft, it's slinky, it's nice. I'm gonna really enjoy this shawl when it's done. So that's, yeah, nothing much to say about this one, but it's a more recent project, so I thought I should show it up. I'm also showing off some more ancient projects that have actually been on the older podcast 2 years ago and have been in progress for a while. So let's just move right on to one you might have seen then. My Fox Paws by Sandy Peters. It is a shawl. I am not knitting it as a shawl, I am making a cowl, and oh boy, what happened here? Somehow, this didn't get packed away quite right. I have made some progress, but not a lot. I think I need like this times 1.5 for a cowl, and I'm probably going to have yarn left over. I was hoping to just knit until everything was used up, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Oh, I know why the weird yarn. I had to frog back last time, and then I was frustrated and just threw everything in the bag. These are my yarns. They are Artisanal Alpaca Silk 4-ply. I don't believe Artisanal is still existing. I don't think they're making yarn anymore, at least. Oh, that looks like a lovely cobalt on screen. It's not, but it's more of a purpley, dark purple, blue. This is also showing up more purple than it is. These are actually quite accurate. This was maybe a little bit more green. I should not have said that they show up well on camera because now they don't anymore. Yeah, this is a fun pattern. Challenging. Woo! The yarn is running away. This is definitely a project that requires your full attention. I've tried working on it while also Netflixing. Would not recommend it. I just tend to make mistakes and have to frog back, and frogging back those stacked increases or stacked decreases is just not fun. This is incredibly soft. The yarn is also slinky, which means I have a problem when it comes to my ends. They just slither right back out when I weave them in. So I'm knotting them at the sides like a barbarian and then weaving them in, and that gives them a little bit of extra security, and I'm just going to have to be careful wearing this. I did a provisional cast on, which when you have to do stacked increases is also maybe not the best idea, but it works, and I'll have a lovely cowl, hopefully, when this is all done. I'll have to graft everything together. I'm going to have to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. Probably in like the last row of this section, like the stockinette section, the chevron. But yeah, I love the colors I chose. Even though it's been in progress for a long time, I don't feel like this is really a languishing whip. You need to just be in the right mind space to work on this. And you need to really focus on the pattern and what you're doing, and I just don't always have that. So, but I feel like working on it now, so maybe I'll work on it later after I finish editing this. Editing wise, please don't expect anything fancy. I'm just gonna cut out really weird bits, or bits where I'm like blah blah blah, or just throwing on projects, trying to find the one I'm trying to talk about. I'll put in a header, I'll put in like sometimes a few pictures. That's basically gonna be it for now. I want to grow this podcast. I have great ideas for an intro. and like different little segments, but it's my first time back. I'm just gonna take an easy start and see if I can keep it up recording at all. Next whip. Yes, you haven't seen this one yet. It is in a plastic bag. Oh, actually, I didn't mention this project bag. It is a, I always pronounce her name wrong, that's why I'm checking. Lowdown Originals bag. I found her through Instagram a while back, and this is all teacups. And yeah, she sells on Etsy. Great sturdy bags. I have several of hers. She's the first official project bag I ever bought. It's not this one actually, but yeah. Great sturdy project bags. I mean, my fox paws have been living in this for about 2 years, so it definitely likes its home. Next one. This is a project I started just for Christmas, like way too late for Christmas because it was intended as a Christmas project. It is a Mitten Garland. The official name is Mitten Garland Advent Calendar, and the designer is Lewinski on Ravelry. This is mitten number 1. And they're just, you make like 24 cute little mittens stranded with a number on them, and then you make a garland out of them. And I just love that. My mom loved it too, so she prayed for the yarn. And I'm knitting them. This is number 2. These haven't been blocked yet, so they're all still a little bit scrunched up. I was going to wait until I finish them all, because they're probably going to go in the back until Christmas anyway, so I might as well just finish them all first. This is number 3, which I need a little tight, I think, but whatever. They're mittens for a garland. Look fine. This is number 4. And which one is number 5? I have 5. This one is number 5. I think this one is actually my favorite. I was thinking maybe number 1, but these go very well together actually. And one of my favorite things is the patterns are pretty easy. It's not written in the way I usually like my patterns to be written. It's a little more like, okay, do this and then work that chart, and then it's a little more bare bones, but it works. It's clear. Yeah, you just need to get knitting and it will fall into place. But the thing I really like is that most of the thumbs also have some kind of patterning. It's just not a boring thumb. This one has a little heart. This one has little flowers. This one has stripes. This one has those little lines continued on. This one has a snowflake. This one's nicer actually, this side. They're not all super nice, but I really like them. And I have like 19 left to knit, and this is all the yarn. The yarn colors in the pattern are red, white, grey, and dark grey. But as you might be able to see here, I added dark green because I saw on some project that people had done that, and I really liked the idea, so I thought I'd do the same. Let me show you the yarn really quickly. I'm using Lang Yarn's Yawool Superwash. It's a 75-25, which means 75% wool and 25% nylon. And the interesting thing about these yarns is they have a little spool inside with like darning thread, or reinforcement thread. I haven't used it yet, but it's a fun gimmick thing. You could just darn with this yarn or reinforce with the same yarn, but hey, I'm sure people out there really appreciate this. I haven't darned any socks yet. I haven't reinforced any heels yet. So maybe I'm just not the target audience, but the yarn is really nice. It's soft, it's smooth, it's really nice to knit with. I would like a sweater out of it because it's easy care. And I have since, this was my first time using this yarn on these mittens, and I have since used it for several projects as well. So this is the white. This is the red. The white is coloring number 1. The red is number 60. There's some other numbers in front of it, but I think these are the ones that count, and how they are listed on the websites. This is 98. This is the green, which it's very similar to my sweater, a bit more yellow, more brown. This is the dark gray, which is number 3. And this is really, really very soft. It almost feels softer than the green. Maybe it's just my imagination. And then the light gray, which is number 23. So these mittens will be great when they're all done. They're fun little intermission projects. I'm currently, after the fiasco with the socks yesterday, I'm not sure what I want to knit on. On the one hand, I feel like I should be knitting a design because I want to get them out, and I have plenty of ideas, and they're all like clamoring for attention in my head. But I also feel like maybe knitting one of these, and it doesn't matter so much if my floats are too tight. And I could practice like relaxing my tension a bit on these maybe. Because this one is also a little bit smaller than its other buddies. Maybe you can see. Yeah, this is a little bit wider, this one, than this one, but when they're all hanging on like a garland, nobody's going to notice. They'll just be wowed by all the amazing colour work. So, back into the bag they go. And I want to finish these before this Christmas because I feel like I should. Next project, what else do I have? Oh, only one left. Wait, yeah. The Beast. This is a project that might be familiar to you. This is what I call my Molly Weasley blanket because I feel like it would be at home in the burrow, and Molly Weasley would appreciate the crazy colours and the different textures and just how fun this thing looks. I mean, wow, I love the crazy colours. It just looks cozy and squishy and soft. And it is also sometimes referred to by people as a Cozy Memories blanket. I use the terms interchangeably. If you want to know exactly how I knit my squares, because I have this lovely spine down the middle, check out my project page on Ravelry. I've included instructions there because I took a little bit of a different approach to existing patterns at that time. There might be more patterns out by now because I think some people have included how to do spine in their patterns, but I used a free pattern and I just combined two to make my own version. And I included instructions on how to do the spine, which stitch counts I used in my pattern. Sorry, someone texted me something funny and I got distracted. I have a 26 square wide blanket. It's also going to be 26 squares high. That means I have to get a total of 676 squares. I'm currently over halfway done, which is impressive. I could finish it this year if I wanted to, and I want to. I just haven't done it yet. I'm knitting it in two parts. One half is bigger than the other. This is the first half. I have, how much do I have? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows done on this one, so 260 squares. And on this one's a little shorter. I started working on this one before that one, that half, because each half needs 13 rows of squares, is finished, so that there are some of the older yarns that I used in this that I'm starting to use up are also in this half, so that it's sort of even. And I have 4 rows down on this one and like a half row or something. And this one is just a little less big so far, so it's a little more efficient to work on it. It is so soft and fun. I've had it actually over the last 2 years. I've had it on my desk quite regularly where I just like sit on it and just use it like a hand support when working on my computer. I can't wait for it to be done. I really, really want to just be able to use it, but there is one downside. Please, everyone who casts on this blanket, learn from my mistake. Let me show you my shame. Please, be smart. Weave in your ends as you go. I did about 10 ends and then I stopped. So now I have to work. I have 2 ends per square. Sometimes I have 4 ends per square because then I just had too little yarn from a mini to use for that entire square. Let me show you one. Wait. Oh, I guess there's some in the top row of this one. No, I have them. Maybe they're a little bit more further back. I haven't used those minis in a while. I ordered minis. I didn't count properly how much grams I used for each square, and they're all a little bit short. So I just try and find minis or scraps that match the colorway, and then I'll just finish them with that, because that's more a preferable solution to just not using them, which is a shame because they're gorgeous. Or knitting them on smaller needles and just a tighter gauge, because that just sort of warps the blanket a little bit when you use them a lot. I'm trying to find one so I can show you, but I can't find any of them. Oh, this one. This is one of those minis. It's not showing up as beautiful as it is on camera, but like you can see, this has more ends. So I'm going to have to weave in a whole lot of ends when I'm done. I should just start picking them up now. Maybe I'll just weave in ends tonight, watching Watching my guilty pleasure, Temptation Island. I don't know if they have something similar abroad or across the pond or whatever, but in the Netherlands and and Belgium, where this program is aired, it is an incredibly trashy show, and I love it. It is the ultimate guilty pleasure. Basically, they split up some couples, 4 couples this season, and put all of them on, put both the men and the women on a different island, and then shove 12 eligible bachelors onto each island, and those bachelors are told to try and seduce the couple, or the half of the couple, and usually the couples already had significant problems before they went to the island. One this time had already cheated 5 times, and then during the episodes they were like, "Oh, he's cheated more." One was just a douche. So sometimes I'm like cheering for them to cheat and finally realize what kind of. I'm definitely team girl here, to be honest. Sometimes I'm team boy, but this season I'm team girls. Some of them just seemed so like used to not getting, just fading away to give their boyfriend everything they wanted. I'm just like, yes, find someone else, break up. It's so funny. They totally milk it. The presenters are incredibly funny. And just ask the most ridiculous questions, because throughout the season they get like campfire scenes and they'll see like little snippets of what their significant other was doing on the other island, and of course they frame it in the most horrifying way so that it looks like they're always cheating like left and right. But the producers will then just ask, "Oh, are you hurt? Do you think he's cheating? Is he kissing someone?" And it's just, oh, I love it. The next episode I can watch this tonight, so I'm excited. Yeah, maybe I'll just weave an ends tonight, whilst enjoying my incredibly trashy show, do something good. I think I'm convinced I'm going to do that. It looks like fun. It sounds like fun because I'll be able to focus on my show because weaving the ends is. I also, downside to my ends, I cut my ends really short because I'm a Scrooge and don't like wasting yarn. I'm trying to be better at it, but for example with those minis where I run out at the end, I'll try and make the end as short as possible so I can get as far as possible in the square, which makes weaving them in with the needle a little tough, so I'm using a crochet hook and just like weaving them through. That'll be it for projects because we're almost an hour in and I still have some things to talk about. I'm just gonna move these over. Next, a huge bag. Shopping. This is embarrassing. There's more in there than just what I'm going to show today, but the bag was useful. First up, I went to my local yarn shop, Brei and Zo. I have the luxury of 2 easily accessible yarn shops from my parents' house, and that's where I usually shop. I can easily access Stephen and Penelope. There's more yarn shops in Amsterdam that I haven't even been to yet because I'm just, I shouldn't really buy yarn. I'm not supposed to, but this is all for design, so it doesn't technically count. This is for an upcoming sock design, and I'm going to be pairing it with something interesting. Some mohair. I saw a picture of a pair of mittens online that I really, really loved, but somebody else is already designing a mittens from this picture, and I don't want to waste time and just intrude and make the same thing. That's ridiculous. But I was inspired and thought of making a pair of socks with based on that picture. And just to be clear, I'm not borrowing anything from a pattern or anything. I'm just looking at a picture and I was like, oh, this is a really interesting texture and a really interesting yarn they used. I have no idea what yarn they used. I have no idea how the other person who was designing the mittens is tackling this. I can't wait to knit her pattern, actually. I want those mittens. But I'm coming up with my interpretation in a pair of socks because I'm a crazy sock knitter and I like wearing socks. One thing about the picture that was really interesting, I'm not going to insert it here because I don't own the copyright or anything like that and I don't want to get in trouble, but it was like it had a sort of like a really nice halo and a sort of shine. And I thought that I could perhaps emulate that by holding a grey sock yarn, a light grey sock yarn, a medium grey sock yarn, together with like a black mohair. That will cause the halo, and by combining the two, the grey from the sock yarn will sort of shine through the halo of the mohair, and I think that will sort of emulate that shine. Also, to be clear, I'm not going to completely copy the photo. I'm just taking inspiration from it and giving it my own twist. So it really is my own design. I know, it feels a little bit weird to say like, oh, I saw a picture of Mitten, now I'm making this. So, also, by the way, if you can reverse engineer from a pattern, you're amazing, because it's tougher than it looks. I usually just will see like things in real life and try and interpret those into my designs, or I will see like a cool stitch pattern and use that in my designs. But like from a picture of someone else's knitwear and then trying to translate that is tricky. More difficult than I expected, actually. This is another design yarn. Recently I submitted 2 submissions to a magazine, and I want to save the yarn that I bought for the swatch as well. I want to use that for the official sample if it's accepted. Because I want to use the same brand for all of the different yarns, because in one of the designs I use several different colours. But I also really want to make a pair for myself. A pair. Hint, hint, hint. No, it's a sock slipper design that can also work as a stocking. And I didn't have enough of the main colour. It's like a brown. The sample, the official yarn that I bought is like a tweed, and that is a little more perfect. But I didn't have that in brown, and I didn't feel like ordering online again. And I saw this, and I thought, that'll be good enough for me. That'll work. I might as well show the official yarn, but it's right here. This is the other yarn. It looks really red on camera. I think it's because the light is starting to... The sun went away. It's like a tweedy, and the tweedy bits really add to the pattern, I think. So I want to use that for the official submission. And then I also did a hat submission. I might as well show those as well now. And I used this Lana Grossa Arioso. I don't remember the exact content. It was wool, alpaca, and viscose, and it is a chainette yarn. And it is the softest thing I've ever felt. It's more of a muted red than the bright red shown here on screen. More burgundy, not quite as vibrant. But it is so soft. And I managed to get hair on it. And a matching grey. These are together in the same design. And I have some other yarns that go with this, but they're honestly not that interesting to show on camera, so for time, we'll just skip those for now. Let's move these in here, they can go into the yarn stash. Next, designer talk. Yes, I don't have a lot of stuff for this segment currently. But I thought it might be interesting to talk about like pattern designing, pattern writing, the designer side of things on Ravelry, and like announcements about my patterns will also go into the segment. So for today, I don't have a lot to say. I just sent some submissions. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about those, so that's why I can't really talk about those. If they are accepted, I will contact my contact and ask if there's any interested in even the podcast in this segment, what and how far I can share, because I've also not shared anything about these things on Instagram because I don't want to get disqualified just because I posted a picture. I don't know how some people can be really strict, understandably, about this. They want to keep it all hush hush. I don't know. But when I have self-published designs, I was going to show the Starlight socks and talk about those, but obviously that's not going to happen today. But when I have self-published designs, I will talk about the process of designing here, about writing the pattern, about uploading on Ravelry, about the promotion on Ravelry, Instagram, all that stuff. I thought it might be interesting because before I started writing my own patterns, I honestly did not have any clue about what was all. And I love doing this, and I like making a little extra cash at times. But it's not a gold mine, definitely not. I just afforded the yarn for the next design, basically, with my last release. And that was particularly well received, so there's definitely times when I only sell like 2 copies of a pattern. It happens. I do this for fun. I enjoy designing, and any other results are an added benefit. I do enjoy designing for a magazine because then I definitely get paid. But yeah, so I am currently leaning more towards designing more third-party submissions and stuff like that, but I'm still going to be self-publishing a lot as well, and I can talk to you about those. For today, just a quick announcement about one of my patterns. Thank you to everyone who participated in the MCall or the SSOK, the sock, as we called it in the Dutch sokkenbreien groep, the sock knitting group on Ravelry. For the month of February, I was the featured designer there, and I designed a mystery sock. And then every week through February, you got a clue of my sock, which was inspired by visserstruien or Guernsey sweaters, Gansey sweaters. Oh my gosh, pronunciation today is all over the place. Yeah, you could correct me, but I'm probably not going to remember next time I say the word anyway. I'm sorry. Gansey, I think it is. Gans, maybe. I don't know. But you know what I mean. The featured technique was knit in pearl, so that's what I used as my inspiration. And I designed the Visser Twist socks, and I'll include a picture here because the mystery is over. And I just wanted to announce that I hope you all had a great time if you knit along on these. If you still want to knit them, the mystery part is over. I will be deleting the mystery segments from Ravelry, because honestly there's no point when there is a picture of the sock on the pattern page. You know what you're going to be making. But I've consolidated all the segments into one complete cohesive pattern, and yeah, you can find that on my designer page as well. Yeah, some random discussion things. Show notes, I used to put them on my blog, which I haven't touched in 2 years. I don't know if it's still there. I need to check. But I think I might just try putting them immediately under the YouTube video with links and everything. That might just be a little more convenient as well as to viewers, because then I can also try and put timestamps for each segment, or at least I'll try. I don't know exactly how it works. I haven't edited in a long time. I haven't uploaded to YouTube in a long time. Or well, I did Vlogmas, sort of 7 days of Vlogmas. There were more days, but I just didn't always feel like recording. I can't guarantee exactly when the next podcast will be. If you enjoyed this one, I'm glad. But I can't make any promises because I'll just end up breaking them, probably. I don't like deadlines. But I'm going to try and record maybe every 2 weeks. If I have nothing to show, then I'll just push the podcast ahead, because yeah, just seeing the same old stuff every week is not interesting. And I'm fiddling with the pen again. Oh my gosh. Next time I'm putting the pen on the other side of the room. Anything else interesting? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that was it. I'm not sure really what else to tell you. I could go into detail about everything that happened in the past 2 years, but I'm honestly not sure anybody is interested in that, and I'm getting kind of tired. I want to get editing. I want to change out of jeans. I'm the kind of person who does not like jeans. I haven't worn them in several years, honestly. I wear leggings. I'm the kind of person that aim the leggings are not pants meme at. But I just bought my first pair of jeans in years, and they are made of like a stretchy jogging fabric, and they're really comfortable, but they're still jeans. Honestly, confession, if I'm at home, I'm in pajamas. Especially if I don't have to go anywhere that day, I'm in pajamas. If I'm home and I don't have to go anywhere else the rest of the day, I'm in pajamas. They're just so much more comfortable. I don't understand why people wear uncomfortable clothes all day. Priorities, I guess. They want to look nice. I want to be comfortable. But yeah, my sweater is getting also kind of hot, and I think the construction workers, they've been remarkably quiet throughout recording this, but I think they've been making motions like that they're gonna be making a lot of noise soon. I'm gonna turn on Temptation Island, eat sneaky cake. It's not even the weekend. I'm not supposed to be having fizzy drinks technically. Just a self-imposed rule. I try not to drink soda throughout the week, and only in the weekend I get 1 bottle, and if it's gone, it's gone. But sometimes I just can't stick to my own rule. yeah, I just cut out of a long section of rambling about everything and nothing about Coca-Cola and cake. It really wasn't interesting. I was all over the place. So I'm just going to end this podcast here. If you have any questions or recommendations or things you just want to let me know, please do so. I read YouTube comments quite religiously. I am always on YouTube watching some kind of video. And yeah, if you have any recommendations for how I can improve on this podcast or the quality of the video or the sound, because you're probably going to hate a pen. Please, I know about the pen. I'll take care of that for next time. But yeah, let me know what it was like as a viewer, and yeah, see you next time.